Do you ever just have like a million different things that you want to do or that are on your to-do list or that you know that you have to get done that are just in the back of your mind, you know? And the things that are priority and the things that you know you really should do just kind of get pushed to the back burner, and then you just kind of get so stressed out about all of the things that you have to do completely, like the whole to-do list, that like none of it gets done at all. Because I feel like that's how this entire month has been for me. Like I wake up in the morning and I think like, okay, I'm gonna get this done today. And then as I'm eating breakfast or as I'm sitting down and I like go on my phone, because you can't not do that now, I just start thinking about like all of the different things that I have to do in the future. And then the stress of just like thinking about all of that at once just makes me so like, not anxious, but just so like just stressed. I don't know another way to put it. Like my brain is just kind of like a bunch of different like overlapping threads that are just like pulling and knotting and snapping tight, and like they're like this at this point. And if I try to do any of those things, they're just gonna snap. So I might as well not do any of them. Also, hi, hey, how's it going? Forgot to start with that because it's been quite a hot second since I filmed a video. Where are my manners? Anyway, hey, how's it going? It's Ashley. Your girl is back with another video. I'm gonna be doing my wrap up, but in this wrap up, I feel like I'm gonna be talking more so about like reading slumps in general, the existential crisis that I've been going through this month, which really isn't existential or much of a crisis at all, but I like to call it that just to, I don't know, make it seem more important. And also the somehow 6 books that I read this month, all in the past like week. Don't ask me how any of those things go together because I'm still trying to figure it out myself. Let's talk about the first thing. Let's talk about reading slumps for a minute, because I felt like I was in one this entire month. You know, I got back from my awesome trip from Europe and I was like on top of the world. I was like, yes, we're gonna get stuff done. We're gonna, you know, eat healthier and work out, and we're gonna, you know, make the second half of the year a really good year. We're gonna read and we're gonna do all of these things. Yes, yes, yes. And so I got home and I filmed the 2 sponsored videos that I needed to do, and then everything just kind of stopped. My life became a constant wheel that sort of turned over these past few weeks, and the only things that it ran over were baking videos, because I've been really into watching those, and episodes of Run BTS. And I didn't read it all, and because I wasn't reading, I wasn't feeling motivated to film. I've talked about this before on my channel, I'm not going to talk about it again, waste any more time, but yeah, I felt like I was in a slump. But then the longer that I thought about it and the longer that I was like, you know, what am I actually doing? I realized it was because I had so many different things going on in the back of my head. The only thing I would say that's been going decently well for me this month has been writing, which I'm totally okay with. Like, I'll take the win where I can get it, you know? Like, I was in a standstill with my writing. I finished my second draft and I was like, I want people to read this, but then I reread it and was like, oh shit, I really don't want people to read this because it's really not that good. So now I'm kind of like backtracking back to step 1 and like working through characterization and world building and stuff so I can like make the 3rd draft like, you know, really, really, really good, but that's beside the point. So writing is the only thing that's really gone well for me this month. And then on top of all of that, I had my day job. I was working. So it's like, there were just like so many different things. So many things. And I didn't do any of them, which was great. Now, none of that is to say that I'm like not happy or something. I'm totally fine. Like my mental health and well-being, I'm totally fine. I'm just a little stressed over things that I am going to need to do in the future, and also things that I can't control, but it's fine, which is, you know, where the existential crisis part that I mentioned earlier comes into play here. This is one hell of a wrap-up so far, you guys. I hope you're enjoying. Anyway though, to get back into books though, I did say that I read 6 books this month, so let's talk about them a little bit before I really go off the rails here. Essentially, so the whole month of August I didn't read anything, and like I said, in the past like week and a half I've read 6 books. And the only reason that any of this happened was because 2 of my friends who I work with in person said that they were starting to read the Throne of Glass series, and they're like 2 of the people that I talk about books now because, you know, I work with them all the time, and I was like, oh, you're starting to read Throne of Glass, I love that series, like how do you feel about it so far? And they were both like, oh my god, we love it, like we're gonna keep going. And so they were on like book 3 or whatever, and I just realized that I couldn't remember as much of the series as I wanted to be able to talk to them about it. So you know what that meant. Yes, that meant that I reread the entirety of Throne of Glass this month. I read Throne of Glass, Throne of Glass, Crown of Midnight, Heir of Fire. I read all of those within like a couple days. Then I wanted to get to Queen of Shadows so bad, but I knew I needed to go back and read The Assassin's Blade, so I read The Assassin's Blade and Queen of Shadows literally in like, I don't even know. I read The Assassin's Blade in one sitting. Like one freaking sitting, okay? A couple hours, maybe literally like 4 hours. I skimmed through it, I flew through it, like I was in crazy person mode. And then I read Queen of Shadows in like one day, like 600-page book in one day. I don't want to talk about it. And then I just finished Empire of Storms last night, which took me like 2 days. So honestly, I went from slumpy, unmotivated, not really in the mood, to I'm on crack and I'm going at the speed of light and I can't stop and nobody can stop me. Those are the two moods of this month, the two moods of August, and yeah. Talking more so about Throne of Glass, I really did forget how much I like this series. I really do. I know a lot of people over the years like do not like the series and dislike it, and that's totally fine, like have your own opinion, but I like this series. Yeah, were some of the scenes cringy, and like yes, some of the dialogue and some of like the Fae stuff, like yeah, it's kind of weird, and sometimes I'm like, ugh, what? And I skim over it. But very rarely does that happen now. I got back into it and I was like, I really like this series a lot, especially the first few books. I always said in the past that I didn't like Crown of Midnight. Crown of Midnight is a good book. I don't know what I was talking about. I was reading it and I was like, dang, I actually really like this book. I like it. That's when Selena's character really starts to like deal with stuff and like really starts to like, you know, take a turn, and the story starts to like really spin toward what has actually been happening. And what was I talking about? But really, I reread Throne of Glass specifically because as I'm writing my own story, I want to go back to the books that, you know, really got me loving fantasy and high fantasy, and like, you know, I really remember reading and having a good time with. And I read it with like a writer's perspective in mind. I know Sarah J Maas can write some weird stuff, but I also know that Throne of Glass was a good book. I really liked it. So I was going through it with a writer's perspective, like pointing out things that I personally enjoyed reading in the story and thinking about how I could take it and sort of like, you know, use it to develop my own writing and stuff. And I know that there's so many other authors who could do this too. And I feel like I've been doing that a lot lately with books. You know, I've been reading them from more so of like a writer's perspective, being like, you know, oh, I really like how this person wrote this, and I really like how this person, you know, developed this character. And that's what I've been doing with this series. Granted, after we got past book 2 and we started getting into book 3 and Heir of Fire, where things really started to get real and fast and crazy, I started just like flying through it, not really caring about the writing. But the first 2 books I really like took my time with and were like, was like really picking over and like seeing the things that I missed when I was, you know, years ago reading these stories. So I'm actually technically kind of glad that I read these when I did. I really am. Granted, will I be able to get anything done until I've reread Tower of Dawn and Kingdom of Ash? Probably not. But at least it's getting me reading, at least it's getting me motivated. And that is one thing that I can be thankful for when it comes to rereading stories, because rereading is like the one way that I can pull myself out of any kind of slump, any kind of crisis, any kind of anything that I'm in. I can just pick up a book that I remember really loving, that I don't really maybe remember a lot about in general, and be able to just reread it and enjoy it again, and it sparks my love of, you know, doing that. I also find that watching other people be excited about things that I was excited about and now have since lost interest in really sparks my enjoyment as well. Like whenever I'm in sort of like a writing slump, I'll watch videos of people who are writing books, or I'll watch writing vlogs and things like that, and it'll really get me excited to write again. So yeah, rereading things that I used to have a really deep passion for, and also watching other people have that passion that I have somewhat lost as well, really helps me get back into that mindset. So I don't know, if any of you are struggling, try rereading or try watching somebody else get really excited over something, because that's what tends to help me. I don't really know what this wrap-up has turned into at this point. Am I turning into a self-help channel? No. But does this video sort of feel like it? Just a little bit. Also, on another unrelated note, I'm reading all of these things, and like even all the books that I read last month, and I don't think I've recorded them anywhere, so God knows how many books I've read this year so far. I genuinely don't know. I guess the last thing that I wanted to say, just for you guys who have been following me for a little bit and know some of the things that I have said that I'm going to be doing, I'm still working on getting up the motivation to continue my Heroes of Olympus reread. I have not started the Mark of Athena yet, and I should do so at some point soon, hopefully. And also, so many of you keep messaging me and asking me when I'm going to finish my Keeper of the Lost City vlog for Legacy and whatever the last book is called. I honestly can't remember, and I will get to it. I know that I said that I was going to get to it in August, and I'm really sorry that I didn't. You know, things did not go according to plan in August, clearly, but it will be coming clearly before the end of the year. I promise you. I'm going to try to do it within the next month or two. I'm tired of saying that I'm going to do things and then I don't do them, so I'm going to be working on those. Just please bear with me. But yeah, I think that's all that I wanted to talk about. To be honest, I don't think that there's really anything else that was on my list to talk about. I just kind of wanted to like rant about reading slumps and like, you know, life in general, and then also tell you guys that I read all of Throne of Glass again. Anyway, it's getting darker and darker, as you can probably tell by the lighting changing in this video, so I'm gonna go ahead and go and try to figure out what else I'm gonna film for you guys. I hope this video wasn't too long and rambly for you, and if you stuck around, thanks for being here. I appreciate you. Anyway, if you want to follow me on any of my socials, all my handles are in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching again, and I will catch you later. Bye!